Hello, people of Earth. This is Dan Lockhart of the Rider the Valkyrie Dan Lockhart YouTube channel, and this is my ride on Pikes Peak. I was born and raised in Colorado, and I've never been to the summit of Pikes Peak. It's always been a lifelong dream of mine to be able to do that, and I actually did it this week. It's just amazing to be up there. Really enjoyed it. Every year there's a race here that's called the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, and that race originated in 1905, and obviously the road's asphalt all the way to the summit now, but back in the old days it wasn't. And it starts at mile marker 7, and the track is 12.42 miles long. And I just looked it up, and a person by the name of Robin Shute did the course in 5 minutes and 55 seconds. So that's just flat flying up this thing. I think it took me I'm going to guess about 45 minutes to get to the summit. This year, when I made my July 4th tribute video for my YouTube channel, I included the song America the Beautiful. And it occurred to me that I could visit Pikes Peak, because I don't live a couple hundred miles away from there, on my motorcycle, and I've always ride to the summit. And so the song was inspired by Pikes Peak. It was actually a poem that was written by a teacher in 1893, and her name was Catherine Lee Bates. And this is a quote from her. She said, "One day some of the other teachers and I decided to go on a trip to the 14,000-foot Pikes Peak. We hired a prairie wagon. Near the top we had to leave the wagon and go the rest of the way on the mules. I was very tired, but when I saw the view, I felt great joy. All the wonder of America seemed displayed there with the sea-like expanse." It wasn't just that she was talking about. She had gone on a journey across the country, and, well, it was the view that inspired her to write the poem. It wasn't just that, but her experience on Pikes Peak was actually the pinnacle of a long journey through the heartland of America. So it was a whole bunch of other things too that she included in the song, but she penned that poem actually when she returned to her hotel, and the rest is history. One of the things that I didn't really expect when I decided to do this ride was when I turned off the highway to come to the toll road. I pulled off of Colorado State Highway 24, and it was bumper to bumper traffic, and it took me probably, I'm going to have to guess, somewhere between hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, from the time I pulled off the highway until I actually made it to the toll gate, because we're at peak summer tourism right now, and there were plates from all across the country of people wanting to go to the summit of Pikes Peak. And not only that, on the motorcycle, the whole way up to the toll road, up to the gate, was uphill, and so working the clutch and the throttle and the brake with my hands. By the time I finally made it through the toll gate, my hands were really starting to feel it. And I was thinking of the new Honda Goldwing owners that have the automatic transmission. What a joy that must be for them, just to, throttle it and go up the hill instead of having to work the clutch and the brake and everything all together. And actually I did see quite a few Goldwings, a lot of motorcycles on this road, lots of Harleys, lots of big bikes going up to the top, a few trail bikes here and there. It's kind of hard to appreciate on this lower section here how much of a climb you're going to do going up to the mountain. Now, in this video, I didn't get footage all the way to the summit. I only had, I think maybe 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes worth of battery and my GoPro. So in this particular video, I didn't get footage all the way to the summit, but you can see on my fairing that black square in the front, that's my GoPro Max, and that one I believe I got the whole entire ride. So we'll produce a video from that later on. It takes a little bit more editing and effort with the GoPro Max than the Hero 8, so but I wanted to let you know I don't have footage all the way to the summit, and then coming down I have footage from about a mile west of the summit, and so if you want to wait for the other video, I'll be doing that one sometime in the next month or so. When I went to the gate entrance, the attendant had asked me how far I intended to go up the mountain. And I said, well, I'd like to ride all the way to the summit if it's possible. And she said, well, we can't let you do that today on your motorcycle. You're going to have to stop at 16. I had no idea what she was talking about, 16. As it turns out, that was a marker. And what she was saying was that at 16 you had to stop, and if you wanted to go to the summit, then you'd have to take a shuttle bus from the summit, from that parking lot up to the summit, and then take the shuttle bus back down to the number 16 marker. And so when I got up to the number 16 marker, there was a couple guys up there that were attending the parking lot, and they waved me through, and they said, well, you can go all the way to the summit, but you just have to loop through. When you get to the building there, you have to go through and turn around and come out the other side. You can't park up there, you can just drive through it. I said, okay, well, that's cool. So that's what I did. I went up to the top, circled through, came back down to the bottom, and I stopped to change batteries about a mile west of the summit. Years ago, I visited Maui, and I decided that I was going to rent a Sportster. So that's what I did, and I was going to ride this Sportster to the top of Haleakala, which is a 10,000 foot tall volcano. And the thing is, when you go to Haleakala, you want to get there to be able to see the sunrise. So I don't remember. I didn't have any goggles, and the wind was really whipping. And I had a very light jacket because, this is Hawaii. How cold can it get? I could tell you, it gets pretty cold up there. And so when I got closer to the top, the wind was blowing so hard, it dried out my contacts, and I actually had to take my contacts out, and I put them in my mouth so I could keep them moist. By the time I got back up to the top, I could put them back in again. And I got so cold I could barely work the throttle and the gas with my hands. I just got numb. And so I knew it was going to be cold riding to the top of Pikes Peak, but actually I didn't have my jacket on until I came down. I think it was something like 90-something degrees in Colorado Springs on the day that I did this ride, so I wasn't expecting it to be super cold up on top. And thankfully, the wind wasn't blowing at all. So it was a really nice drive, but I did stop and put my jacket on for the drive back down. You can see on this part of the road that the hairpins are becoming more frequent and that the road is getting a little bit more narrow. As you get closer to the top, the hairpins come often, and you really have to be on top of it, paying attention. But still, it's such a super fun ride. I'd do this again anytime. I stopped and did a selfie on the way back down, just a little bit west of the summit. That's a summit above my left shoulder there. They were doing some kind of construction project up on top. I'm not sure whether that's going to be, whether they're expanding like a visitor center or something like that, but there was a lot of people that were doing work up there. on my way down the mountain, I was looking in my mirrors and I saw a couple of cars behind me. There was a police truck that had its red and blue lights on. And so I thought I better pull over. That's what you're supposed to do. So I pulled over, and the two cars went by me, and then the police truck with his lights on went by me. And then right behind him was a semi-truck, and I thought, I should be able to get back in on the road right there. And so I pulled in front of the semi-truck, and then I realized that the police truck was doing an escort for the semi. So then I pulled over again and let the semi go by, but I thought it was kind of weird that you'd have red and blue lights on your police truck and doing this escort down. So it must have been some kind of hazardous load in his truck. So we're coming up here to a mandatory brake check, and what the attendant's doing is he's checking the temperature of people's brakes as they're coming down the mountain. That section we just came down from, which was probably the steeper part, but there's still quite a bit of steep left to go. So if he checks the temperature of your brakes and they're too hot, he has you pull over to the side and wait until your brakes cool down before you can get going back down the mountain. I thought that was a pretty good idea. Years ago in Golden, Colorado, there was a trucker that was coming down I-70, the west side of I-70, and he was hauling a load of lumber behind him, and his brakes got hot, and he went by a runaway truck ramp, and unfortunately for the time of day that it was rush hour, and when he got to a certain point in Golden, the traffic had come to a stop ahead of him, and he just plowed into him, and he ultimately ended up killing 4 people. There was a huge fire. It took him hours to get the thing put out, and it was a huge mess. And I don't know what they did to him in terms of arrests and penalties and things like that, but I'm sure it was significant. Nobody really knows for sure why he went by the runaway truck ramp if his brakes were gone, because they were hot. But I can tell you, from driving that section of highway for several years in the morning going to work, you can always smell the hot brakes of the trucks coming down out of the mountains all the time. Unfortunately for him, it was rush hour traffic. Well, we're coming to the end of my video, and I do hope you liked it, and I appreciate it. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below, and we'll see you in the next one. And I just had so much fun on this ride, I can't even begin to tell you. I hope you really liked it. Have a very good day. Bye-bye.